Hi. So finally the heart Tally comes back to YouTube to film a little bit because there's nowhere else to go. You guys, this has been a journey, a really big journey for me. So my name is Italia, and I used to be on YouTube a couple of 2.5 years ago, and I let go of the channel because it was no longer serving me, or I mean it served me it served the purpose. I think that channel served the purpose of what it was supposed to do, and I think that I did everything that I needed to do on that channel, and I'm really grateful for that channel. I'm grateful for the subscribers. I'm grateful for my viewers on the channel. You guys were hyping me up and you guys were really great. However, I decided that I decided to move into I was starting to move into a different direction. So something happened basically around 2020, the end of 2020. Something happened within myself, and I started going through a healing. And I know, I started talking about it. I was like, I don't feel right, something is wrong. And I was basically going through a healing. I was beginning a journey of downloading and bringing to light 2 languages and 2 accents that were stuck inside of me that I couldn't really see properly. And what I realized as well is that I was stuck. By the way, let me start over. I'm from Africa, right? I was born in Africa. I lived in Africa for 12.5 years. I speak the African language from Uganda, and Jokera Uganda, and Sabala Kukara Uganda, and the Ticket Abulunjay. My family is from Uganda, and they all grew up in Uganda. We all grew up together. I did not grow up with UK people. I did not grow up with French people or anything like that. I just basically, I was born with languages basically, and as I got older, the languages would unveil themselves. I mean, they started, spirit would come to me with messages, I think since I was around 3.5 years old, about my languages and what was about to happen. But I brushed it off for about 19 years, and then when I turned 19, I had a massive spiritual awakening that awakened me to remember who I am and what I was born in this world with, because I completely forgot. I knew that when I was in America, and I moved to America when I was about 12.5 years old. I moved to Houston, Texas, and I remember the teachers telling me that you have these accents. What are these accents you have? What is this user? And I couldn't hear myself. I couldn't really hear myself. And people will talk back at me and say the things that I would say. Kids will laugh at me in the classroom when I'm reading. It was relative. I got bullied, and I don't know if it's too. I feel like it's too bad when I started reading at school. So when people will hear me read, and then the bullying was too outside of the classroom, and kids would really laugh at me. So I had it rough, in high school and stuff like that. But I didn't start really hearing myself speak until the spiritual awakening. The spiritual awakening happened when I was about 19 years old. Like I said, it was a spiritual emergency, meaning the awakening turns into kind of a psychosis. The awakening turns into kind of a psychosis, but it's not a psychosis. It's basically an emergency, which happened 3 times. I was in and out of the hospitals. And then I then came out of it, and then began the journey of learning to ground myself and to live on planet Earth instead of being in the awakened state all the time. Obviously I'm in the awakened state, I'm awakened, but I'm more grounded than I was 20 years ago. So I think it's 20 years, yeah. What I say, it's almost 20, it's like 18, 19 years ago, like whatever you giving me age away. So yeah, still sipping out of coffee. Swear there is nothing in it. It's Starbucks. So yeah, so that happened, and so I awakened. My awakening process, everybody who awakens to some truth in them that they don't know. My awakening was awakening to languages that I was born with in this life. I never picked up the African accent. I think the only time I actually heard the African accent, or the nature of the African world, was when my mother was merged with me. Like, my mother was really merged with me, and I lost myself in her so much. We were that close, we were like bonded. And part of the awakening process was to unbind myself from my mother through healing, like heal our energies and release, you know, each other, not like forcefully, not cutting cords or anything like that, just healing the energies and moving into our true selves, instead of like, you know, like forcefully. Like, I used to like feel it, and I'll get so mad, and I'll be like, I want you out, I want you out. And the more I take though, the more like she'll come even closer, so even strong, and I'll be like, what the hell, I love you, but damn lady, like, I need my space. And I didn't realise that we had come together and we were bonded together, and she used to tell me that we are one, like, and I'll be like, no we ain't. No I fucking ain't. so like, I had to do the healing process, and I released my mother, but not just my mother. I came into this world with a lot of bonding, with a lot of bondage or bounding with a lot of spirits and a lot of people, and I had to release those energies and realize the difference between me and them. And so, and it was hard, because I'm like, okay, since these people are them people, and I'm from Africa, shouldn't I sound like Africans people? Wouldn't that make a difference? And Spirit is like, oh no, listen to your inner child, listen to who you are. How you come into this world is completely different from where you came from and where you grew up. So you need to follow that, otherwise you're gonna be crazy forever. So in order to stop the craziness from going crazy, in order for me stop the spiritual awakening to turning to an emergency forever, I had to accept who I am and begin the process of healing. So the first healing obviously was my YouTube channel. Acceptance was really big for me. I opened up a YouTube channel. I did underwear series, beginner series. I was literally letting loose. I was like, this is me, this is who I am, and I don't give a fuck. And I was doing that, so I was like, I just let everything, I let it all out, and I didn't care. But then, you know, after 2.5 years, Spirit called me back, was like, okay, it's time to care. It's time to care, honey. It's time to like balance the shit out. Okay, we get it. Oh, we get it, sis. And I was like, alright. So what happened is, like, I went back into the hermit mood, and I went back into the journey of spiritual awakening. And I had another prior to, like, I think putting on my YouTube channel, I had another emergency, a spiritual emergency, but this one was really visionary. It was controlled visionary, because I had learned over the years to ground myself, to understand the awakening process, and when I have an emergency, I knew how to take care of it. I don't have to go to the doctor, I don't have to go to a psychiatrist to get medication for it, nothing. I can do it myself. I can control my visions, and I can bring myself back. I just have to be locked in my house. I can travel in between the worlds, and, you know, do outside work while I'm in the spiritual realm, working in a visionary state, and working through my visions that I'm having, strong visions, literally. So, but I'm glad it happened when I was in the pandemic, because I learned how to control it here in my room. I would stay here in my room, lock my kids out on the other side, make sure that he's eating, make sure I'm taking care of him, go back and forth within the physical world and the outside world, and then control my visions. and you know, ever since then, like, I've been stronger. So I decided to basically to stop, you know, the underwear series, because the energy that, you know, I was hiding underneath, you know, once it came out, like, everything started moving so fast, so quickly, that I had to start writing a lot of things down. Like, the languages were so many, like, I had so many different words, so many different languages everywhere, like literally everywhere, and I couldn't stop having so many different accents. It was driving me crazy. I was like, God, this is crazy. Like, how am I gonna live my life like this? You know, I can't study everything, do you know what I mean? Like, what's gonna happen? So I started writing everything down. Like, I have a little language diary, and I'm gonna just show you glimpses, you know, of how it was. Like, it started to move a little first. It's a little bit of a mess, and so I will start writing. I will start writing down how the languages were moving within my body, like so, and the accents. Let me show you. It got really crazy a couple of weeks ago, before today, and it just started going. Oh, what is it? Yeah, I started going really fast. Like, it would change every day. Like, so I'll go from like a bunch of the languages being in a certain type of place, and then moving to a certain type of place. So the diagrams kept changing over and over again. I know it looks really crazy. Hold on, Eli. Hold on. So they started moving really crazy. And so finally, the last one was what got me, because it was so much all of a sudden. It was so many, like, and I had to like kind of write everything down, everything that was going on in my brain in the way that I see it, so much. And so like and I had to get another book, and so towards the end I cleared everything, and then this is where we are now, with just, you know, I want to hide this, hopefully that's the one I'm hiding. And so we've got like only 1 2 3 4 5 6 accents, 1 2 3 4 languages, 3 accents. And that doesn't mean that I can't tap into Italian. That doesn't mean that I can't tap into all of these accents. And I don't know if they're gonna come back one day and you know, to share something with me or something like that. Maybe there were worlds or something like that I was in back in the day, but I had to heal in them worlds. And once I began that healing and I began to like be more myself, I ended up like coming into this conclusion, which is a lot more practical, like a lot more mature, a lot more practical, a lot more sane. Like, I'm not going crazy. I can actually handle moving into these worlds really quite nicely. We've got English 1, English 2 and English 3, which English 1 is basically kind of like a Cockney accent, and it's a Cockney world. It's a lot different. The personality there is very different. We've got English 2, which is I need to open the door for my kids, so I'm not going to hurry. I'm going to hurry real quick. We've got English 2, which is, to me, Oxford, which is a completely different world, a completely different personality. And English 3, which is the Austrian accent, which is combined by English 1 and English 2. And I name them like that because they make sense to me. Give me 1 minute.